Ms. Davidson, if you'll step up here next to me, please, ma'am. You'll raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can have a seat, please. If you'll speak up in that smaller black microphone there in front of you, that'll help me hear. And if you'll tell me both your first name and last name and spell them both.
Jennifer Davidson, Jennifer Davidson.
Thank you. Questions, Mr. Newman?
Yes. Ms. Davidson, where are you from, please?
Dyer, Tennessee.
And where did you go to high school?
Gibson County High School.
And what year did you graduate?
2006.
After you graduated high school, what did you do next?
Attended Bethel College.
And what did you study or major in at Bethel College?
Biology and chemistry.
And did you complete your course of study at Bethel College, or did you go to another university?
I transferred.
And where did you transfer to?
Trevecca Nazarene University.
And is that in Nashville, Tennessee, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were you studying there?
Biology and chemistry.
Okay. Now, did you transfer yet another time?
Yes.
And where was that to?
MTSU.
Okay. And of course, that's here in Murfreesboro.
Yes, sir.
And you work at the Raiders Crossing Apartments, is that correct?
I did. Yes, sir.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. You did. And you know that's here in Rutherford County, the state of Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you transferred to MTSU, did you change your major, or did you have a new major, or what
It stayed the same, biology and chemistry.
Okay. And I believe that, are you still in college?
No.
Okay. Are you going to be going back to college?
Yes.
When's that?
September.
And where are you going to be going?
Tennessee Technology Center here in Murfreesboro.
And what will you be studying there?
The nursing program.
Now, when did you start work at Raiders Crossing Apartments?
October of 2010.
And when did you leave the Raiders Crossing Apartments?
May of 2011.
And what job did you perform there?
Community assistant.
What does a community assistant do?
We basically lease apartments.
Okay. And did you know Ms. Shanterrica Madden?
Yes.
And how would you describe your knowledge of her, your relationship with her?
Office communication.
Okay. Did you know Tina Stewart?
No.
Were you aware of any problems between the two?
No.
I want to take you now to March 2nd. On March, well, first of all, what is the phone number of the Raiders Crossing Apartments?
615-890-0800.
At some time were you called on your phone, I guess it was, or another, well, where were you in the afternoon of March 2nd, 2011?
The Woods at Greenland.
Okay. Now, the Woods at Greenland and the Raiders Crossing Apartments, are they in some way affiliated with each other?
Yes, sister properties.
Okay. Sister properties?
Yes,
so they're
sir.
owned by the same company?
Yes, sir.
And so you were, at this particular day, you were working there at the other location?
Yes.
Okay. And who did you receive a call from?
Erica Dotson,
And do you remember approximately what time it was?
5:45.
Okay. And how is it that you can remember that?
I looked at the clock when the phone call came in.
Okay. And when she called you, do you remember what she was concerned about?
Yes.
And did she relate to you what she was concerned about?
Yes.
And what was that?
That she had received a phone call from Tina Stewart complaining of her roommate smoking marijuana in the apartment 321 where they resided at Raiders Crossing.
In that conversation, did she mention anything to you about a scholarship that Tina Stewart had talked about?
Yes.
What did she say about that?
Erica let me know that Tina had informed her that she was a basketball player at MTSU and that she would be randomly drug tested, and if her drug test came back positive, then she would lose her scholarship.
Okay, and do you know what the purpose was that Ms. Dotson called you?
Yes.
What was that?
I was the only assistant that had Officer Jensen's number, who we asked to handle all of our business that we couldn't handle.
Okay. Now, Officer Jensen, I know that in some apartment complexes, the courtesy officer or security officer actually lives on the premises. Do you know whether or not Officer Jensen lived on the premises or not?
Yes.
Okay, did he?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do once she had conveyed that information to you concerning that complaint?
I used my cell phone to call Officer Jensen's cell phone.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you ask Officer Jensen to do?
I explained everything that Erica had explained to me on the phone, and then I proceeded to ask him if he would like to handle that situation himself or should I call dispatch, and he said that he would handle it himself.
Okay. Now, at this particular time back in March 2011, where were you living?
Raiders Crossing,
And how close would you be, how many buildings are there at Raiders Crossing?
4.
And apartment 321, where Miss Madden and Miss Stewart shared, did it have a building number?
3.
Okay. And what building number did you live at?
4.
So your building would be next to that one, is that correct?
Yes.
And from your apartment building, could you see hers?
Yes.
Now, after you had called Officer Jensen, did he ever call you back?
Yes.
And you know what time it was he called you back?
6:07.
Okay. And did he tell you that he'd been to apartment 321 or not?
Yes.
And what did he report back to you?
That he didn't find anything in the apartment when he went in. He could smell the black and mild that was burning, and that he gave Shanterrica a speech because she had admitted that she had smoked before entering the apartment.
Okay. What is black and mild?
A cigar?
Okay. Is it a brand of cigar? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after he had reported back to you, when was the next time that you recall something happened that has caused you to be here today?
6:52.
Okay. And what happened then?
I saw an officer pull up in the parking lot out of my window from my apartment.
Okay. And when you say an officer pull up in the parking lot, was he in a police car?
He was.
Do you know whether or not he had his emergency lights on or off? Or?
Off.
Okay. And after he arrived, did other police officers come?
Yes.
Now, once he arrived, did you see anything unusual happen when you looked out your window or see any activity?
I saw the officer run.
Saw the officer run?
Yes.
And did you see anybody else?
No.
Okay. At any time, did you see Shanterrica Madden?
Yes.
And tell us about that.
After I saw the officer run, I went to my balcony to see where the officer had gone, so I could tell myself if I needed to assess the situation at hand myself. And that's when I finally saw Shanterrica come down the steps.
Okay. And was she walking, running, or what was she doing?
Running?
And was anybody behind her, or did you see anybody else?
Yes.
Who, do you know the person behind her, or do you just know there was somebody behind her?
There was somebody behind her.
Okay. And you know it was a male or female?
Male.
And you know what color he was?
Black.
Could you hear anything that Miss Madden said, if she said anything while she was, when you
Yes.
saw her running? What do you remember her saying, if anything?
We got to fighting. There's blood everywhere, but I didn't do it.
Okay. And do you remember anything the black male said, if anything, as he
Yes.
was running? What?
There's blood everywhere. Why did you do this? How did you do this?
After you saw this, I imagine it caused you some concern.
Yes.
And what did you do next?
I went from my balcony back into my apartment, put on a t-shirt, grabbed my keys to the office, and ran down to the scene where the officer was.
Okay, now when you saw the officer this time, was Miss Madden with him?
Yes.
And was she basically in his custody at that time?
Yes.
And can you describe her demeanor when you saw her?
She was very calm. There was no expression on her face at all.
Your Honor, if I could have a second.
Sure.
Your Honor, I believe those be my questions.
Thank you. Question, Mr. Brand? Yes, sir.
Ms. Davidson, if someone calls in a complaint, you all follow up on it, is that right?
Yes.
And are you aware of any prior complaint made by Ms. Stewart regarding marijuana against Ms. Madden?
No.
And have you or do you know anyone at your facility that's ever talked to Ms. Madden prior to March the 2nd regarding marijuana?
No.
And you say Officer Jensen told you he didn't find anything?
Yes.
Do you still know if that's true or not?
I don't know.
Those are my questions.
Other questions?
When you worked at the Raiders Crossing Department, can you tell me how many people were employed there?
6.
Okay. And were those, some of them students, some of them non-students?
We are all students.
Okay, what about Miss Bickford?
She's our manager?
Was she a student?
No.
Okay, did she work there?
Yes.
Okay, so there were students and non-students?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, Brent?
No, sir.
Any questions from our jury? Don't see any? Thank you, ma'am. You can step down.